Connor.
Yep.
We're streaming now. We got a stream.
We got a stream?
Yeah, we're on Twitch and we're streaming now.
Like right now?
Well, not right now. No, not
Oh,
right now.
like yeah, I was like, this is news to me.
No,
You just dropped it.
no. Twitch.tv/2pennygames. That's us. We're over there on the Twitch. We'll be streaming. I streamed earlier this last week some Final Fantasy VII Remake. Streamed for about 3 hours, and I haven't done it since. Still kind of figuring out scheduling and when I could do it more regularly. But listeners, be keen for some updates in the future, because we got some stuff happening, some stuff in the works. It's very exciting stuff.
Now, am I able to have access to that as well? I know you like as in the same way as with
What
the
is streaming?
YouTube channel.
Yeah, we can talk.
Yes.
Yeah, we can talk about that. We can talk about that off mic.
Nice. That
Yeah.
sounds good.
Absolutely. So,
But yeah, there's good things going.
yeah, but until then, Connor, let's do the show. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
And
what's
different than what we usually done?
Yeah, exactly. So what's poppin', players? Welcome to the Two Penny Games Cast. I am your host, Tavin Bothel, here in spirit at least, with my good friend Connor Elliott. Say hi to the people, Connor.
Hi guys, I am sitting in a better chair than I sit when we usually record.
So, long story short, I was exposed by one of my coworkers to the dreaded COVID-19 virus, and though we don't know yet if I've got it, we decided better safe than sorry, and we were recording remotely from each other over the lovely Discord. So,
Yeah, that goes to show you about how you weren't going to just, for your own convenience, not mention anything until after. Like, oh, I may have COVID. You notified me in advance, so.
yeah.
For your pat on the
Absolutely.
back
No,
for
I'm
you.
not gonna have you come over to my
Congrats.
place like we normally do and do our show, and then at the end, like off mic, be like, oh, by the way, this happened. Like, no, like, you know.
Hope you don't die.
But anyways, you can catch our show every week, Monday, 8 a.m., SoundCloud, Spotify, and the YouTubes. Working on getting some other stuff done. What is the normal preamble? It's so weird not being able to see your face and do this at the same time.
You can't react to me now. And I
can't.
can't properly go to the restroom either.
Did you go to the
'Cause,
restroom before we started, like I told you to?
I did.
Okay, good boy. Look at you. So basically, ladies and gentlemen, the way this show works is me and Connor each come to you with two topics, two pennies, if you will, of the happenings and the trending news in the gaming industry, and we give you our 2 cents on them. This week, Connor, we are going to get right into your first penny. Some sad news, unfortunate news, but, important news nonetheless to talk about. Video game voice actor Brad Venable dies at age 43. This is from Game Rant by Sam Woodrick. Today being, when was this? 2 days ago. So, Friday? Today, tragedy has struck with the announcement of voice actor Brad Venable having died at the age of 43. The cause of death has not been made public by his family, but friends and co-workers of the voice actor have shared the news of his passing. Those who didn't know him personally may have heard him in such games such as Final Fantasy VII Remake. Many would also likely recognize him from his roles as Griffin and Nightmare in Devil May Cry 5, and his work as Costas, Nader, and Nardell in Fire Emblem Three Houses. Many of those who have worked with him have put out their thoughts about how wonderful it was to work with him, as well as many other words celebrating his life. With a community as tightly knit as the voice acting community, there are many out there currently mourning this great loss. So this is, unfortunate, especially 43, rather young.
Yeah, it's kind of just came out of nowhere. I mean,
yeah,
just
so
when it first broke, a lot of people in the voice acting community were taking to Twitter and just posting the emote of a candle. And they didn't want to breach the family's privacy at the time.
Sure.
And eventually it was just made public. And so many people have been tweeting about this. A lot of voice actors, and it seems by all accounts he was a great guy. People have been sharing videos. There's actually one on the story that we're reading right here about how he would help people with workshops and make people feel more confident in themselves. Just seems like a genuinely amazing human being, and it just makes it sadder when you know that he's gone.
It's very unfortunate, especially so early, and he's got all this great work and great potential, and loss of life is never fun.
Very prolific. Mm-hmm.
So, rest in peace, Brad. Thoughts and prayers to family and friends. But yeah, that not much else to say on that.
No, it's just something that needed to be brought up, considering that he's as prolific and as impactful in the video game voice acting industry as
absolutely
people make him out to be.
So, but since moving on from there, I guess we'll just jump straight into my first penny, which is coming up next. It's Twitch will change the face of PogChamp every 24 hours. Twitch removed its this is from The Verge by Bihan Steven, thank you. Twitch removed its popular PogChamp emote a couple days ago after the person on which it was based, Ryan Gutierrez, posted some tweets encouraging more mob violence after the riot at the Capitol. The spirit of PogChamp, however, will live on. Today, Twitch announced that it would cycle through different versions of the emote every 24 hours starting today. This was, again, Friday that this article was posted. The reason PogChamp was popular because it was the site's global hype emote. When anything cool happened on Twitch, you could be sure to see people pogging in the chant. As the writer, I'm sorry, I'm totally spacing here. What is happening? As the writer, Ryan Broderick put in his excellent newsletter, Garbage Day, Twitter removing the PogChamp emote was probably in service of taking the site fully mainstream. Quote, the other big part of this is that Twitch's long-term goal as a company seems to be fully divorcing themselves from the reputation as an ESPN for gamers, Broderick writes. So, the PogChamp debacle is basically perfect for Twitch. A small change that signals they're no longer aligned with Gutierrez and everything within the specific toxic strain of the pro gaming community he represents, end quote. So the article continues with a few more details, but this Twitch has just been on a roll, which is bans and we'll say alterations in light of the attack on the Capitol this last week. Including banning the president himself from Twitch, which, along with pretty much any other social platform you can see, the Twitters, Facebooks, Instagrams.
Grindr, as I saw.
I saw Spotify got rid of him. I don't know how that happened, but there he goes.
Maybe he was on Grindr, though.
Maybe he was.
No one ever said anything.
Nobody's ever said anything. And just to keep it short, I think if you have any, to keep it short and rather blunt, I think if you have any pushback on this, if you don't agree with this, or you're like, oh man, that's fucking stupid, you're just wrong. I think if you support the actions of what those terrorists did at the Capitol the other day, you are incredibly, incredibly wrong, and you should really do some self-reflection and check yourself. And though we don't talk about it too often on this podcast, I've mentioned it briefly a few times. If the phrase Black Lives Matter causes you to have the reaction of, okay, but this, or what about blank, you're wrong. You're just fucking wrong. And that's all I'm going to say about it. You can go fucking educate yourself about why you're an idiot.
I expected you said beforehand the warning that you were going to go on a rant, but I thought it'd be longer.
I'd rather talk about video games on this show. We can if we want to talk about all that, we can make a different show for that. But
we can. Wouldn't be opposed to that.
I'm drawing that right here. That shit is bottom line.
Now, going back to the Poggers thing, I don't know how true this is, because I heard it on the internet, and, it's not very reliable all the time. But apparently, Gutierrez didn't like the PogChamp emote. Apparently, he hated it. So, honestly...
Okay, so good news for him, then.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, like...
But also, fuck him.
The spirit of what I would want to do is keep it, just to make him upset. It seems like you're kind of doing him a favor at this point, but...
But to be fair, I do like that the face changes.
I do that. So, I like that too.
Yeah, so we can get a bunch of different stream faces going on, and it's just a more unified, and we can have a more diverse face to go with the Pogchamp. We like dropping a couple poggers ourselves.
Yeah, so, we have one pog in our little Discord group.
In our personal Discord, we've got a pogger for our buddy Phil.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's nice to see Twitch be like, okay, actually let's flip this and turn this into something that is more community supportive.
AKA a good PR move.
A good PR move. Hey, good PR moves can be good inherently. It's not that they're PR focused. Yeah.
No, PR is just, it could be good or bad, and it's good in this case.
Anyways, so let's move on to my second penny, our third topic of the day.
Slicing through these stories.
Yeah, the first two we cut right through. There's not much to be said about it, but maybe this next one and our final one will warrant some more discussion. Also, it was a bit of a slower news week as people.
It was very slow.
Coming off of their winter breaks. Sony discontinues PS4 Pro and all but one model of PS4 in Japan. This is from IGN by Joe Screbbles. Sony Japan has reportedly announced that it will end production of PS4 Pro and will only continue to produce one model of the PS4. It's not clear at the time of writing whether this policy extends to Western markets. GameWatch reports that Sony has discontinued all models of the PS4 Pro and all but one model of the PS4 Slim, with the original PS4 design already out of active production. The only PS4 that will remain in production is the 500GB jet black slim design. The move has been taken so that Sony Interactive Entertainment can increase production of the PS5, which has seen major stock shortages since launch. Excuse me. Not least in the US, where it had the biggest console launch month in the country's history. So far, the move has only been announced in Japan, and it's unclear whether Sony's Western arms will follow suit. IGN has reached out to comment, but received no response at the time of publish. So this is super interesting.
It is.
In the sense that the PS4 and subsequently the PS4 Pro, take part in one of the biggest console launches and biggest console lifespans in terms of sales numbers of all time. It's like number 2 or something, right behind the PS2. And it was previously the biggest console launch of all PlayStations, but I think PlayStation has always had the biggest console launch of all time record. So it's interesting to see so quickly after launch of the PS5, them saying, okay, that's out now, we're going to shut this down, and if you want a PlayStation, go get a PS5. Now, this take that it's to hopefully so that they can increase production for the PS5. I hope that's true, because it's hard as hell to get one. I'm still hitting up every source I can and finding no luck with it.
And Japan seems to be having the same exact problem. In fact, I was now that I have access to a computer at all times, I can look up things while you're talking about them.
You could always
feel more like you, but
I
have a laptop, but I will not bring it because that's more struggle. But the PS4 actually, it looks like it outsold the PS5 this month, selling 30,482 consoles between the period of when was it? December 21st to January 3rd, obviously 2020 and 2021 respectively.
Well, that would make sense considering how hard it has been to get a PS5.
Yes, that's the big reason. That's the only reason why. Probably.
Yeah, post November launch, and how plentiful PS4s are. Like, if you want a PS4, you can get a PS4, and more than likely, if you have one, or if you want one, you have one already. But which
is why I was surprised.
That actually makes sense, and that trends towards traditional console launches. At the beginning of this last launch, or beginning of the PS4 launch, PS3s and Xbox 360s were selling like hotcakes because heavy discounts. They were cheaper than ever. The new machine was out, so prices went down for those older models.
I always wonder who's buying them. Is it people that just want to have like some kind of PlayStation to collect it, or are the people that just haven't had one up until this point?
It's people who haven't had one, who haven't been able to afford one, who are just now starting to get in on it. All the different like check marks you can find for that.
And still got tons of games on there too. So
the PS4 is a great console to have, and sad to see it go, especially so early since we're so quickly off the heels of the PS5 launch. But rest in peace, PlayStation 4.
Games will still be made for it at least until 2022. So it's not the end of it yet, but it's if the West goes on that route and starts stopping production of PS4s, that's the end coming sooner.
We are well on our way. So Connor, let's move on to your second penny and our final topic of the day. Epic Games announces new acquisition of Rad Game Tools. This article is from Polygon by Cass Marshall. Epic Games has acquired the technology and business of Rad Game Tools, according to a post made on the official Epic Games site. Rad Game Tools is a video game software development company. According to the post, its, quote, products and technology appear in close to 25,000 games and are leveraged by the world's leading gaming companies, including Epic. End quote. Epic Games is the owner both of the Epic Games Store and the Unreal Engine, a powerful and popular game development tool. The statement further reads, quote, Epic and Rad plan to integrate Rad's powerful technology into Unreal Engine to benefit the developer community and gamers alike, end quote. Epic Games has used Rad's technology before, specifically the compression technology. This has allowed the developer to improve the load time of Fortnite, which is currently one of the most popular games in the world. The post further explains that as games become more photorealistic and powerful, developers need best-in-class compression software that can manage increased data requirements without compromising quality. In short, the plan is for Rad's team and technology to work with the rendering, animation, insights, and audio teams for Unreal Engine to improve the systems and infrastructure that game developers use. While Epic now owns Rad, Rad will continue its existing work with games industry, television, and film partners, including those who do not use Unreal Engine in their work. So this is incredibly interesting in like a nerdy industry way type of story. Epic constantly growing and evolving, especially since they've blown up so high with Fortnite and with the acquisition of the Unreal Engine and the launching of their own Epic Games Store. This I see as mostly as a positive, in that the Unreal Engine is the most used game engine in the world, so tools being better optimized and these compression technologies that they use being able to help all kinds of games developers decrease load times and figure out the best ways in order to create their games all sounds great to me. This is a lot of technical jargon that I don't fully understand, and I don't think you do either, right?
No, I do not. Okay. But what I do know is that we've talked about it before about how the move is towards accessibility with new games, and this seems to just make that even easier and probably make things run even smoother
on the development side.
On the development side, yes. So it's just it's just another story in the general direction that the game industry is taking. And I was actually surprised when I found out that they were still going to work for other companies. I thought usually when you see something about like this acquisition, it's solely going to be doing their work for, in this case, Epic Games or Microsoft in the case of the acquisition of those ZeniMax. So it's kind of unique in that regard. I can't think of any time when something like that's happened.
The difference here is Rad is more technology based, so their work extends past games and things as trivial as console exclusivity, or in this case, a game launcher exclusivity. So and even I believe it's the Mandalorian uses the Unreal Engine. Am I right in that? I'm gonna have to Google now. Mandalorian uses some game engine. It's so that they can create because the way the Mandalorian is shot, it's not shot on like green screens or even live sets. They're basically in a room that is just a big ass, like all the walls are just big TV screens, just huge, and you can't even tell the difference. And then the environments match to where the camera position is. Googling about Unreal Engine. Mandalorian. Yep. Mandalorian uses the Unreal Engine to build entire 3D environments for the Star Wars live action series. Yeah, so they build their environments in Unreal Engine.
This is you touched on it a second too. Epic Games is really stepping up their game. I once again, I also forgot if you mentioned this before, but they bought a mall to serve as their global HQ.
Yeah,
in the story.
Yeah, it's mentioned in further down in the article. This isn't the only big move Epic Games has made recently. Fortnite's developer and publisher recently purchased a mall with almost 1 million square feet of space to serve as the company's global HQ. Now, whether that means to house employees or servers or something else, I don't know. Maybe not. It's a lot of space.
All we know is that all we need to know really is that they're really trying to step up their operations.
Constant expansion.
Rad and that. Yeah, I wonder if a lot of their focus with the acquisition of Rad, like obviously they're trying to go in a bigger direction. I wonder if Fortnite was a reason why they decided to do this to make their game work better. Once again, you and me don't really understand a lot of the technical stuff and how it plays into it.
I don't think the acquisition of Rad plays into that. I think it was probably just a move that made sense to them, and also with Rad's ability to branch out outside of video games, that's just more money in Epic's pocket. So it's probably just an aggressive expansion move. What's interesting is I didn't hear about this prior to you bringing the story to me, and it's rather like subtly really big news. And for some reason, it's not being talked about as much as, Twitch changing an emote.
Well, with the Capitol storming was reason why I would assume that people aren't talking about this more. Obviously,
being tied into a more mainstream news.
Yeah, sure. But also this is it's not like the acquiring of something like ZeniMax, which makes games that everybody plays. I mean, if you asked me before I saw the story, I wouldn't be able to tell you who Rad Games Tools is. And now that I've read the story and I know a little bit more about them, it's very, very big news, but it's not commercial big news.
Sure.
As some other things.
I think the comparison to the ZeniMax acquisition, that's an acquisition in order to entice people to play on Xbox, whereas this is an acquisition in order to grow the business side of Epic. So it's not so important to your average gamer or to your average consumer, but behind the scenes, moves like these are super interesting, and it really positions Epic in a very interesting way, in that they could grow super exponentially and suddenly have their hands in everybody's pockets within the next couple of years, or it'll just be kind of business as usual, and we may not even hear anything left this again. But I wouldn't be surprised if Epic gets to throw their logo up in front of movies and TV shows and other video games as as producers and get like production credits for all of those things. Very interesting stuff.
Yes, very good for Rad, very good for Epic Games. We'll see if anything really comes of it. At least things that we can notice.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll be, and even if it does, I doubt it'll be even super important.
Probably not revolutionary.
No, it'll just be like they're on this show. Oh, okay, that's interesting. So, Connor,
yes.
Those are our 2 pennies each.
Through them.
Yeah, quick, easy. Just running right through it. So let's go ahead and jump into arguably my favorite part of the show. What we've been playing.
Oh yeah, what have you been playing?
What have I been playing?
These things off, but what have you been doing?
Oh, that's a great idea. Or that's a great question. What have I been fucking playing? So I had started a little over a week ago. I had started Final Fantasy VI. I'm still super preliminary into that. I haven't really touched it in like the last week because I've just been busy with work, and I just haven't been in the mood for that type of RPG. But I did like what I see, and I will be doing more, especially in these nice little month or two buffer zone in between big launches. This to me, this part of the year is cleanup time. So this is where I go back and I clean up and I get trophies I wanted to acquire, so like platinum trophies and stuff, and finish up any games that I had started but didn't finish, or even go back and go deeper into my backlog of being like, oh, hey, I've been wanting to play. For example, this time last year, I had started Knights of the Old Republic in this period of time and played through all of that and had a good old blast doing that. This week, however, I've mostly been playing Final Fantasy VII Remake and Persona 5 Royal.
You didn't make it into Royal, huh?
Yeah, well, I've always been kind of casually playing it, but now I've been like dedicating actual hours to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's entirely just for a trophy cleanup. I made some good progress on stream earlier this last week in Final Fantasy VII Remake. Was plugging away at getting those dresses, because how in the wall market scene, each one of those main characters gets their own dress. There is a trophy assigned to seeing every variant of every dress, so you have to play through those sections a minimum of 3 times.
Yeah, you're always going for those platinum trophies.
Yeah, it's a good time. I'm also playing on hard mode, which is it's good, bro. It
is kind of fun. I have been having the inkling to play that game as well. I have other things that I need to focus on right now, but eventually I'll be joining you alongside.
Eventually,
the hard grind.
Oh, dude, and I wouldn't even call it it's not super difficult. It's just you have to well, it is difficult, but you have to adjust how you play the game just slightly. You've just got to be a lot more focused and a lot more serious about building up your ATB meters and executing moves appropriately. One thing interesting about hard mode is certain materia, you just throw it right away. There's no point. There's no point in having certain materia, and there's other materia that you have to have this in your people have to have this at all times. Somebody has to have these abilities. So the prayer materia and the chakra material, which are both healing material, but aren't focused on magic or the consumption of MP, are essential, because that MP, for one, is better used for casting spells on enemies, and two, using damage spells and effect spells and booster spells drains your MP so much, and in hard mode you can't use items, so there's no way to get your MP back up.
So you have to be very conservative with what type of magic you're using.
Super conservative what you're doing and how you're using it, and having your health tied into cure spells which drain your MP. It's just shooting yourself in the foot. So yeah, super interesting. I fought on stream. I fought what is it called? Hell House.
The Hell House. Oh, you got that. Okay.
That was the hardest fight so far.
Even harder than the Buster. What was
the Air Buster? No, the Air Buster wasn't that bad. The only problem with the Air Buster is it had a bunch of one-hit kill moves. So it was just a matter of just positioning my people in a way that they just don't get hit by that. And then once I did that, it was a piece of cake.
Now, I remember when I was playing the game, one of the most important spells was the any spell that gave electric spells. Are those still useful as attack spells? Because I remember flying enemies and robotic enemies would really be weak to that kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, enemies in the game. Of course, because you still have to, those enemies still need to, you need to take them down and get those stagger meters built up. So yeah, using spells they're weak to is essential. Also, just playing with the materia system in general. Now that I've got one playthrough under my belt and I understand that system in its entirety, playing with and experimenting with different ideas in that system is super fun.
Now, don't mean to call you out, but the first time you played the game, you didn't know that you could level up materia?
I didn't understand. All right, I didn't get it.
Know that.
I didn't get it. Okay, I knew I was leveling up. I thought it was just getting stronger on its own. I didn't realize you had to unlocked different versions of the same spell. Okay.
I don't know how much difficult that would be. That sounds like it made a lot of encounters in the game a lot harder. because it just does so much more damage on those higher level spells.
It took me a long time to beat the final boss. Okay, it took me a long time.
I'm not even I'm not even looking at you with like disdain or like disrespect, but it's just like, man, how'd you do that?
Annoying.
Must have caused some problems.
That final boss was really hard. I imagine he'll almost be easier on hard mode.
And for those of you that haven't played Final Fantasy, I know you were telling me this a while back. First of all, to specify, there's a lot more of pausing the game during combat and planning out everything you need to do. Correct?
Yeah, it almost plays more like the original Final Fantasy VII now than it does how we played the remake.
Yeah, I was just gonna probably preach to the choir and let people know that that's another side of the game rather than just all being real-time action. You pause the game and choose spells and choose which targets you want to attack and stuff like that.
Yeah,
a lot more of that.
They even have that system where you can what are they called? Like quick keys to or hotkeys to like cast certain spells and do certain moves quicker without having to dig into those menus. I don't understand how anybody could play with that system in hard mode because you just get fucking annihilated. But other than Final Fantasy, I've been cleaning up Persona 5. It's really just a matter of just making progress and finishing this playthrough at this point. So, just plugging away, having fun. Same shit, different day.
All good games.
Yeah, all good games. Connor.
Yep.
What have you been playing, my friend?
I talked about it before. I started playing Max Payne 3, and I finished that.
Oh, what'd you think?
So, comparing it with my thoughts of the game when I first played it all those years ago, it holds up very, very well. The gameplay was fun all the way throughout. The story dipped at the end there when it got the game is largely focused on you protecting this rich family in Brazil, and then it becomes this whole other schemy underground criminal organization that's doing bad things, and it kind of gets a little samey from a pretty interesting story to one that's just, oh, you're gonna take out the bad guys who are doing the bad things over here, and but beyond that, the game is great. Max Payne's a very, very good character. I actually wouldn't be opposed to any Max Payne 4, even though looking at it, it's not going to happen for
we're more likely to get
backroom
a remake.
Deals.
We're more likely to get a remake of the first game than a sequel.
Yeah, we probably would actually. Yeah, since there's some backroom dealing that goes on that apparently is going to prevent it from ever getting a sequel.
Yeah, because Rockstar doesn't own that license outright, right? Or am I tripping?
They don't. Yeah, it's weird stuff. I can't be trusted to remember it all off the top of my head.
All right. Well,
but
regardless, so you had fun. You had fun with that Max Payne 3.
I did. I would recommend anybody who hasn't played it before, play it if it's on sale, because it goes on sale pretty commonly for like $6. Pretty easy pickup. It only takes about 8 hours to complete the whole game, so it's very short, very sweet.
Oh, I was about to be like, oh, maybe I can get it for PS3 and get a nice little platinum. But then I remembered multiplayer, and I'm sure there's multiplayer trophies, and I'm good. I don't need that.
No, you don't need that. Trust me, you don't need that.
No, I don't need that. Anything else?
Yeah. Other than my finishing of Max Payne 3, I started a game called King of Fighters 13. Oh. So it's I'm starting to go down a little bit of a fighting game hole. I originally started playing Guilty Gear a couple months back, and I fell in love with that game. And starting King of Fighters 13, man, is the difficulty level in learning this game a lot higher. Because whereas in Guilty Gear, you play, you usually find one character that you're good with, and you play with him against your friends and online.
You learn your
stuff
main.
Like that. Yeah, you learn your main. In King of Fighters 13, you do have that style of game setup where you just fight one player against your one character. But for the most part, the way you play it is you have 3 characters against 3 other characters. So you have to learn how they all play, and that's really, really tall order to fill because it's 3 different characters.
So it's more like a Marvel vs. Capcom style.
It is exactly that type of style. Yes.
Gotcha.
And I honestly, even though it is a high learning curve, I still haven't really started playing seriously yet because I'm still finding out how you exactly do everything. I really like that system because it can get a little bit samey in those games where I'm just playing Guilty Gear and playing the same character over and over and over again. So it's nice to have more room to choose different characters that could be a really fun team comp to actually play against other people with. But I'm playing. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but I'm playing the 13th entry into the game, which is very, very, very well loved. And the most recent one, 14, had some issues with it, some gameplay designs that go over my head because it's all like fighting game talk, and they say,
more technical than you haven't leveled up to that.
No,
point
not at all. I'm having enough difficulty learning all the like the shit this game requires you to learn. But funny enough, like 3 days, like almost a week after I started playing it, King of Fighters 15 got announced, and people are going crazy over that as well. But this is kind of a good time to get into this game because I can just hop on 15 if it's as good as people are hoping it's going to be, whenever it is that game comes out. But very difficult game to learn. The inputs that you're required to do can be a little bit unforgiving, especially compared to something like Guilty Gear. But this game has tons of style. Once again, bring back Guilty Gear because it's the only fighting game I really have experience with. With Guilty Gear, it has a very
exception of Smash Brothers.
With the Smash Brothers as well, yeah. But that's an entirely different type of fighting game.
Yeah,
I'm coming to find out. Yeah, but in Guilty Gear, the characters are kind of very anime. They have a lot going on with their character design, and that's not a bad thing. It's amazing. But and these characters in King of Fighters definitely have a lot going on with their designs because they're fighting game characters. But it's a lot less of stuff going on. It seems a lot more simplistic, and that's something I'm actually kind of enjoying right now. But overall, the game's very fun. I'm gonna keep trying to get good at it. I don't have any, I'm looking at it right now. It says I've played 12 hours already, doing a lot of practice. So
12 hours, wow.
I know. Actually,
that's way more. I was expecting maybe 5.
No, I have been digging deep into this game because it is super fun and very stylish.
Okay.
Wanting to get really good at this. I'm trying to get good at fighting games in general, but it's kind of being a slow process considering the high learning curve you got to go on to play fighting games as much as other people play them.
Absolutely dope. I forgot to mention, is that it for what is it called? Kingdom
games that I've been playing.
Just in general. That's it. I forgot to mention, I have jumped back into, almost regrettably jumped back into, Star Wars Battlefront 2 on PS4.
Regrettably.
Well, I don't know. Here, let me just go. The PC version, the servers were just dead as fuck. Like I like even searching solo, I could not find a game. So I was like, you know what? Let me load back up my PlayStation version. I bought the Celebration Edition or whatever with all the unlocked cosmetics and shit, and I was like, let me load that back up. Let me see if the servers are how the servers are there because I was just itching to play that game again. Because it's just such a good casual fun shooter game. And I was very pleased to see that servers are still fairly active. There's a couple of, modes and even sub modes of the there's a couple of modes that are dead and just not a chance in hell. But there are, the main Supremacy mode still active, still got people in it. There's certain sub modes within that mode that basically just breaks down to the different eras of Star Wars. Some eras being more popular than others cause player dips dependent on the era that you want to play as. So I'm basically just playing a lot of the Age of Republic, and then every once in a while the Age of the Rebellion, which is like prequel and original trilogy type stuff. I've been unable to find any sequel era games, which is unfortunate because some of my favorite heroes are in the sequel era. I liked the sequel era maps a lot, and then just the overall gameplay is still a lot of fun. Now Battlefront 2 by no stretch of the imagination is like a hardcore shooter or like things with like super high skill floors and ceilings and shit. It's super just definitely a casual game. But I just have a fucking blast with it. And I even got Phil to finally subscribe to PS Plus, and I bought the game for him, and I was like, let's go, and we played a couple matches. He seemed to, have enough fun, but, he definitely takes it for what he is. No, Phil likes Star Wars.
Now, does he like Star Wars like I like it? And I'm just like, oh.
Well, he likes it more than you, less than me.
Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, that's... I figured he wouldn't like it as much as you, but it's good to know that he likes it more than me. Probably takes more enjoyment out of the whole Star Wars motif.
Well, he's at the very least seen every movie, Connor. So
yes, okay. Well, there you go. I haven't seen every movie.
There you go.
And I will never. I watched The Mandalorian before I do that. Because The Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian is good Star Wars.
It's fun. Oh yeah,
especially season 2. Season 2 is phenomenal.
But I promised I would hop on that eventually. Not right now. And I was worried that was going to be an invitation for you to ask if I could play with you later today, which the answer is no. But I'll play with you eventually.
I'm going to get back into Persona after we're done with this.
Good, I'll go play King of Fighters.
You piece of shit. You're a fucking... But Connor, we do have kind of a dead zone ahead of us in terms of video game releases. Not really anything happening through January all the way really until March, and even then just kind of with the exception of like Hitman 3.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of happy for that. I take my time with the games I have.
I am too. You know, I've got some catch up I need to do. I still need to do some Yakuza. I want to play more Apex Legends in my free time, and a couple other things. I want to play Final Fantasy VI. I want to get the platinums for 7 remake and for Persona 5 and Last of Us 2 and Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Ghost of Tsushima. Not necessarily in that order. I'm probably gonna get Persona 7 remake and then maybe Ghost.
Speaking of Yakuza, though, I did buy that. I haven't played it yet. I will be playing that pretty shortly. Hopefully, I'll be able to give my little opinion on it next week.
I'm telling you, man, you're gonna really like that game.
Oh, I know I will.
Especially because really, the deeper I get into it, the more Yakuza in style it becomes, and it's fucking hilarious, dude.
Yeah, I consider it a personal shame of mine to have never played any of the Yakuza games. So, because I've obviously seen clips, and I love every bit of that ridiculous game. I'm happy to start being a part of it.
As someone who has tried to get into Yakuza before, I think Like a Dragon is one of the easier jumping in spots, even though it's just a completely different game than the rest of the series. Because for one, I think the English voice acting helps a lot for me personally. But also just it's RPG as opposed to its more action style. I think adds for more or an easier jumping in point. It's also like an origin story for Ichiban, whereas all the other games follow one character. And even Yakuza 0, like you're jumping in, but this character is already pretty well established and in the world he's established. So it's just slightly more difficult to get in. But I think through Like a Dragon, I think even I'll be able to go back and play 0 and Kiwami 1 and 2 and and just fully explore that franchise, because I would like to get into it. Connor, I think that just about does it.
Now I can't ask you. I cannot ask you. Well, actually, I can't. Never mind. Ignore what I was going to say. Ignore
it. Okay, very well.
Very, very stupid.
So
stupid
that'll
moment.
Be it for episode 25. A real quick short one this week. Partly because the news stories that came out, not much to say. But also, I think this remote recording thing, it's hard to bounce off of each other's energies when we can't see each other. So.
Yeah, as good as I feel sitting in my more comfortable chair, that is true.
Maybe next time we should try it over like a Zoom call or something, so that we can at least see each other. Because right now we're just doing it over Discord, and even though there's video calling in Discord, but we just
I could easily do that.
We just didn't do it that way.
No.
But that'll be it for today for episode 25. Thank you so much for checking in, listening. I guess I should have gone into detail about. So I'm getting tested for COVID by the time you're hearing this, and whether or not we record again together or separate will be your answer of how that went for next week.
Yeah, it'll probably be fine. You don't feel sick right now, do you?
I've got a slight cough, occasional. But I pin that more to just seasonal shit than possibly having COVID. But occasionally it does feel a little different than just seasonal shit. But and then if I overexert myself, I get real tired and I can get a headache. But that could just be because I'm a tired boy. I'm just a sleepy boy. But until next week, Monday, 8 a.m., YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, 2 Penny Gamescast. Connor, say bye to the people.
See you guys.